You ever wonder why you do the things you do? Especially when you've told yourself, okay, tomorrow I'm doing something different. Well, in this explainer, we're going to pop the hood on our brains, look at the neuroscience of our habits, and figure out how we can actually get back in the driver's seat. So let me ask you this. Have you ever pulled into your driveway, shut off the car, and then it hits you, you have zero memory of the last, 10 minutes of the drive? It's a weird, kind of unsettling feeling, right? But that's not you spacing out. That's your brain's habit system in action, running a super complex task completely on autopilot. In this autopilot mode, it's not just for driving. Get this. One study found that a staggering 45% of our daily actions are habits. That means for nearly half of your waking hours, you're not really choosing what you do. You're just running these pre-programmed scripts. And that's exactly why understanding our habits is so important. It's about understanding almost half of our entire lives. Okay, so how does this autopilot system even work? Let's dive into the neuroscience of why our brains are so eager to take the wheel, often without even asking for our permission. So here's the crazy part. We walk around feeling like we're in complete control, making all these conscious decisions. But underneath it all, our brain is fundamentally lazy. I mean, in a good way. It's an efficiency machine, and its main job is to find ways to save mental energy. It wants to offload any repetitive task it can, so it can save that precious brain power for new stuff, like solving a tricky problem or learning something new. And habits, they're the brain's ultimate energy-saving hack.
To really get this, you need to know about the two competing systems inside your head. On one team, you have your goal-directed system. This is run by your prefrontal cortex. It's your conscious mind. It's thoughtful, it makes plans, it's flexible. But on the other team, you have the habit system, which is run by a deep part of the brain called the basal ganglia. This system is all about automation. It's fast, it's rigid, and it doesn't need you to think. And these two systems, they are in a constant tug of war for control over what you do next.
Yeah, sequence into one smooth routine that you can now do without even a flicker of conscious thought.
So this handoff from your conscious brain to the autopilot system, it's not random. It follows a very specific, predictable pattern every single time. It's called the habit loop. This pattern is the habit loop. It's a simple, three-part neurological circuit, and it is the foundation of every single habit you have, from brushing your teeth in the morning to mindlessly scrolling through your phone at night. It's all governed by this loop. Okay, so the loop has three parts. First, there's the cue. This is the trigger that tells your brain, hey, time to go into automatic mode. It could be a time of day, a feeling, or, that notification sound from your phone. Second is the routine. That's the behavior itself. You hear the ping, you pick up the phone. And third, and this is crucial, is the reward. That's the payoff that tells your brain, hey, this whole loop, it's worth remembering and doing again. Now, a lot of us hear dopamine, and we immediately think pleasure. But that's not the whole story. Neurologically, it's really more of a reinforcement chemical. Its main job isn't just to make you feel good. Its job is to stamp that behavior into your brain's memory. It's basically your brain's save button, telling it that was useful, do that again next time you see that cue. And that reinforcement is what makes the habit stronger and more automatic every single time you do it. Okay, so if these loops are so deeply wired and reinforced by our own brain chemistry, are we just stuck with them? Not even close. And this quote from psychiatrist Dr. Tracy Marks really hits the nail on the head. You don't break a habit, you redesign it, you replace it. And this idea is the huge turning point from just understanding our habits to actually taking control of them. So how do we actually do that? How do we become the architects of our own neural pathways? Well, it all comes down to a really remarkable property that our brains have. And that property is called neuroplasticity. This is honestly one of the most hopeful concepts in all of science. It means your brain isn't like fixed hardware that you're stuck with. No, it's more like living, adaptable software. Every single experience, every thought, every action you repeat physically changes the structure of your brain. I absolutely love this analogy. Building a new habit is just like trying to forge a new path through a field of really tall grass. The first few times you do it, it's tough. It takes a lot of effort and focus. But the more you walk that same route, the more you trample down the grass, until eventually there's a clear, well-worn path that's the easiest and most automatic route to take. You are literally building a new road inside your brain. So practically, how do we start building that new path? Well, here's a 3-step game plan. First, you've got to become a detective of your own behavior. For the habit you want to change, figure out the loop. What's the cue?
What's the routine? What's the real reward you're craving? Second, you swap the routine. This is the key. You keep the old cue and you deliver the old reward, but you slot in a new, better routine. So if the cue is stress at 3 p.m., instead of reaching for a cookie, maybe you do 2 minutes of deep breathing. And third, you become an architect of your own environment. Make your good habits ridiculously easy to do and your bad habits harder. Put your running shoes right by the front door, hide the junk food where you can't see it. It's that simple. All right, now that we have the core strategies down, let's talk about some science-backed ways to supercharge this whole process, to make your brain even more ready and willing to change. You can think of these as creating the perfect fertile soil for new habits to grow in. Getting some sunlight first thing in the morning helps set your body's internal clock, which actually optimizes learning. Quality sleep is when your brain consolidates memories and strengthens those new pathways you're building. Regular exercise boosts a protein called BDNF. You can think of it as literally fertilizer for your brain cells. And practices like mindfulness help you get better at noticing your automatic urges, which gives you that crucial split second to choose a different response. And hey, if you're trying to build better learning habits, neuroscience has some very specific tips for you. Forget cramming all night. That's old news. Use spaced repetition, where you review info at increasing intervals. Don't just reread your notes, actively try to pull the information from your memory. That's called retrieval practice, and it forges way stronger connections. You gotta eliminate distractions because when you're distracted, your brain is way more likely to fall back on old habits. And finally, chunk big pieces of information into smaller, more manageable groups so you don't overwhelm yourself.
So when you boil it all down, the biggest takeaway is this: neuroplasticity is not optional. Your brain is changing every single second of every day. It's strengthening some connections and weakening others based entirely on what you do and what you pay attention to. So the only real question is, are you going to be a passive passenger while it happens? Or are you going to consciously take the wheel and direct that process? What new path will you start walking today?